Mercedes have brought something which is going to revolutionize Formula One. They brought side pods, baby.
Yes. Yeah.
What have we seen?
The advantage of no side pods was officially locked in for 18 months. I'm calling it now. It's done.
Yeah, done.
So literally like an hour before we've gone live, we had some pictures drop showing like a redesigned side inlet
Oh
and
my.
a revised front suspension with some anti-dive properties. See that, Chad?
God,
I
see what
managed to
you
sneak it
did?
in there.
God.
Managed to sneak that one in there, Chad.
Am I gonna have to go off on a
That was for you.
tangent? Am I gonna have to
No,
go
no,
off
no,
on an
no.
anti-dive
Get back in
tangent?
your box. Get
All
back
right,
in your
fine.
box.
I'm about to fucking lose it.
And then half hour later, we had another photo emerge of the clamshell, which basically does look like a side pod. So it's
Side
not very
pod.
developed though. It looks like a
Side pod.
very basic side pod. It's like a hybrid between sort of like the 2020 and 2021 Ferrari.
Okay.
It just looks a bit bland, and that's not slander, you know.
You're
There's
so fucking biased. It's
I know,
unbelievable. Say something
I
nice
know.
about them for something.
Fuck Mercedes, no. Yeah, so all the drama that kicked off, like, oh, are they, aren't they, like all this upgrades and whatnot. I got I still know people that are in F1, believe it or not. You know, not everyone's blocked and deleted me yet.
Yet.
And I had some guy from quite high up in Mercedes message me saying like how amused they all were in the office watching everyone lose their minds over this potential upgrade, and people need to sort of taper their expectations a little bit. And I was like, yeah, well, that's just the internet, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's also Formula One. Like, what was it? The last time we saw, I forgot who it was. Was it Sabu or Yepa that said? And if I didn't get this right, they said the last time we had or was it even Rory maybe? The last time we had a huge, in terms of somebody bringing an upgrade that was a huge upgrade, it was Force India's B spec back in the day. You remember that?
Yeah, that plucky little team.
Yeah, which is now Aston Martin. So that's pretty wild. So yeah, I think people should definitely be careful with their expectations and not get too wrapped up. But let's please hope that Mercedes have found a substantial upgrade and they're going to be finding some performance so they can compete. So, I mean, we'll come back to this point later, but so far at any event this year, the closest they were to pole when everybody was struggling with warm-up, they were 0.35% off of pole. Everywhere else, they were 0.6% off or even 1% off of pole, which is a huge performance gap, and they're just kind of in the no man's land. So,
yeah.
let's hope.
The other thing as well is obviously these upgrades were planned for Imola. Didn't happen, obviously. So bringing a massive upgrade package to Monaco that you've not tested on track yet sounds like an incredible risk. And it is, let's be fair, it is. But they don't have much choice because they've modified the chassis to accommodate new suspension pickup points.
Oof.
So
which
it's
is
kind of all in.
Yeah, you can't. It's not like there's a Control Z on that one. No, it's like, hey, can we put? So basically, if it looks like they've changed side pods. So the way the Formula One cars works is you can change hard points in the front of the chassis to some extent, but often it might be changing inserts or removing stuff. And I haven't seen that done too many times. I know that people do it, and I just never paid too much attention to it. The other thing is with like a bodywork change, like with the side pods and everything else, you have these fairings which are bonded onto the survival cell or the monocoque, and those accommodate, all the fasteners for all the bodywork panels. And when you have a big change like that, you have to basically cut all those flanges off and then rebond them on to accommodate the new bodywork. So this is not a let's just delay this upgrade. And I know I saw you and a couple of other people being quite cautious, like bringing a huge package update to Monaco is a huge risk, and I think it definitely is. But they've committed to this, and they were going to commit to it anyway. And at the same time, Monaco's about avoiding yellow or red flags, keeping it out of the fucking barriers, and being on track at the right time. That's what it is. And you could have the driver can make a huge difference around Monaco. Yes, we're still going to see a performance gap from top to bottom of the field, but we'll talk more about what makes a car quick around Monaco in a little bit. But
my concern with the risk around it is obviously, like you mentioned, keeping it out the wall. But it's been obviously we didn't go to Imola, so I'd imagine they've probably got some spares knocked up now. So
Yep.
perhaps maybe that's not quite such a risk. But my other question, and this is one that you might be able to answer, is what quality of what's the quality of data going to be from these upgrades in a track like Monaco? It's such a unique circuit.
Yeah, it's there's two things, right? The car around Monaco, you end up setting up the car quite high and quite soft because it's bumpy as fuck. I mean, you look at the bump at turn 5. They have to drive around this bump. They don't drive straight into the braking zone at turn 5. You have very high front ride height. You've got pretty soft front suspension. You've got relatively high rear ride height. Depending, that's not necessarily true, but in terms of aerodynamics data, it's not like you've got a 200 kilometer an hour straight line aero pass that you can do anywhere. Like maybe through the tunnel.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's difficult making quality assessments. All you can say is working, not working. But comparatively, to say fine details, it's relatively lower quality data. But at the same time, I think they'll know if it's going to be a shitter or not. But maybe it just doesn't go well here, and we'll have to wait until Barcelona, which is a very classic, which is typically the winter testing circuit. So people know what to expect and how to set up a car for Barcelona. So I agree with you. Barcelona will be a much truer test for them internally to understand, and probably B, to see if the performance is there, because I wouldn't be surprised if they go well around Monaco or closer to the front.
I'm just sending my thoughts and prayers to the poor engineers that have to get an aero map of that car in Monaco. That would be fun.
I feel like we've done that at some point before, like introduced a new component and we had to do some scans. I don't think that's the case. You don't do that there. And like, to be fair, earlier in the season, people probably have been putting their biggest, nastiest mother trucker of a rear wing on the car just to check that it was stable prior to going to Monaco. Like you usually don't build, they might now, but back in the day, you usually never ever brought that nasty, huge rear wing. You'd run that rear wing at maybe Hungary, maybe Monaco, and Singapore. That's it.
Yep.
And you test it quite early to make sure it was stable, because it's very highly loaded and higher probability that it would have some detachment issues.
Could you use that high downforce wing at Mexico as well?
You would. You definitely would.
Yeah, because of the low atmospheric pressure.
Yeah, you just atmosphere.
Science, technical.